Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Today we are going to be doing a deck profile for Coalossal. I did the Coalossal battle video in my last video. We're going to be doing a deck profile for Coalossal VMax today. Different lighting. It's a little harsh right here. It's a little hot. Anyways, we're not going to be on this camera for too long, but yeah, we're going to do this deck profile. And what I will say about this deck profile is it may be a little bit different from what you've seen out there. I took this first pass at it. There's certainly things that you could change and adjust, etc., about the deck to whatever flavor you want. I don't think there's any definitive way to do it, but I quite liked it when I played it. And the energy acceleration is really good, but I'm sure there's space that can be made for whatever other cards that you think might be useful on the deck. So, but also I just want to give a shout out to Channel Fireball for sponsoring the channel. If you want, you can go sign up for Channel Fireball Pro, use the code GyroSean, and that'll support the channel. And what I'll also say is they seem to have Vivid Voltage boxes back in stock. So you can certainly go buy that. If you sign up, you get $10 credit. So, you know, all that good stuff. Yeah, also just check out the YouTube channel. I have more budget deck profiles coming out, and I'll have some Vivid Voltage ones coming out once that set releases as well. So check out their YouTube channel for Channel Pokemon is what that's called. But yeah, we'll jump into the deck profile now. This deck profile, as I said before, it revolves around Coalossal VMax. That's really what the whole shindig is. So we are actually going to have four Coalossal Vs in this deck. I'll set these three down and then I'll tell you what this Coalossal V does real quick. We got four of these. This Coalossal V here, the first attack is Searing Flame for 3 energy, 2 fighting and a color. It does 90 and it leaves the opponent's Pokemon burned. And then for 4 energy, you do 180. You're very rarely going to be using this. The first attack is maybe useful situationally, but outside of that, if you're putting 4 energy on not having a VMAX, I mean, 180 is not bad, but you're not going to have a good day if that's where you end up. But that's the V. We have a 4 line of that. And then we just have 3 of the VMax. These are such beefy boys. I don't think you're ever going to need 4 of them in a game. So we're going to find a little bit of deck space by using only 3 of the VMaxes. So this VMax, so you know what it does. The first attack is really good, actually. For 1 energy, you do 40 damage plus 90 more after you discard a card from the top of your deck if that card is an energy card. And if it is an energy card, you can attach it to this Pokemon. So it accelerates to itself and it does 90 more damage. And we have a really awesome combo that you will have seen if you watch the video, but a really awesome combo with Oranguru that can almost guarantee this doing 130. And keep in mind, 130 plus things like Martial Arts Dojo. If you are behind on prizes, is 170. For 1 energy, you can knock out an Eternatus VMax. So for 1 energy, this deck is probably going to beat Eternatus no matter what, but you can knock out a variety of different decks that are weak to fighting with just 1 energy. If you don't even have Martial Arts Dojo in some cases, like knocks out Pikarom with weakness in 1 hit, but it knocks out Eternatus with 1 hit with Martial Arts Dojo. So crazy powerful. The second attack, though, for 4 energy, 3 of which have to be fighting, is 240 damage. Pretty straightforward. 330 HP. Also something to note, 4 retreat cost. Also important to know for the future. So we have a 4-3 line of the Coalossal and the Coalossal VMax. In terms of other attackers, there's really just 2 in this deck. Really, this is your main attacker, but we do have 1 copy of Galarian Surfetched V. It has the ability that's basically Heatran's ability, but for fighting. If you switch it from the bench to the active, you can move any number of fighting energy from your other Pokemon to it. So it's really good, and it does Meteor Smash for 200. So this is a really good 2-prize attacker that can take some KOs for you, doing 200 damage. And the nice thing about this, now I don't have an official ruling, but it says any number of fighting energy. It does not say basic fighting energy. So the special energies read that they are considered fighting when they are attached, right? Aurora energy, other. So my guess would be, just like Heat Fire, you can move special energies as well with Galarian Surfetched. So that's also something to keep in mind. So we have 1 of these. as sort of another attacker that helps to skew the prize trade. And then situationally, I am putting in one of the new Zamazenta Amazing Rares. Now what this does, the first attack, 30 damage, and I think you can attach an energy from the discard or something to it. I don't know. It's not that great. You're not here for 30 damage. Really, the second attack is what you're after. You've got lightning fighting metal, so it's pretty weird, but we have the right kinds of energy to make this work in the deck. It does 180, and your opponent's VMAX can't do damage to it. So if you are up against some types of VMAX decks that are very heavy into VMAX, I don't think for Eternatus you would even need this, but for other VMAX specific decks, if you can pull this off, and if they don't have a gust to get around this necessarily, this is a really good walling Pokemon that does 180 damage. So I wanted to put one of these in the deck. Outside of that, you have a bunch of support Pokemon. We have one Dedenne to help you draw further into your deck. We've got one Crobat V for the same reason. We've got one Eldegoss V to get you back one of your supporters. And then the last Pokemon we got here is we have one, and this is a gold monkey, so this is fancy. We have one Oranguru with Primate Wisdom that lets you switch a card from your hand with the top card of your deck. This is really amazing for the combos in this deck because you can put an energy on the top of your deck for Coalossal's first attack, Coalossal VMax's first attack for 1 energy. So you can guarantee yourself an energy attachment and doing at least 130 damage for that 1 energy. Oranguru is just absolutely broken in this deck. Again, I would urge you to watch the video of the battle just to see how crazy Oranguru is in this deck in particular. So that's the Pokemon line. I think it's a good Pokemon line. You might find other attackers or other support Pokemon play around with lines. I would almost even consider a second Oranguru just because I think it's that good in this. Not that you'll have 2 on the bench at any given time, but just to make sure you have access to it. So let's get into the supporters now. This deck doesn't mind drawing deep into the deck to find what it needs. So we're going to have 4 Professor's Research there to discard and draw 7, and 3 Marnies. So that is the majority of our draw on top of the Dedenne and Crobat. Just 3 Marnies in here. I don't think you necessarily need more because we wanted to make space for another supporter in here. And that space and that supporter, it's actually B. So I will tell you what B does. B says discard the top 5 cards of your deck and attach any energy cards you discarded in this way to your benched fighting Pokemon in any way you like. Now, if you're familiar with Cosmic Eclipse, you might remember a card called End's Resolve. The problem with End's Resolve is you could, I think, only attach it to 1 dragon Pokemon, and it had to be benched, and it couldn't be any energy. I think it was only basic energy. So B allows you to attach any type of energy to any of your fighting Pokemon on the bench in any way you like. So that means you can attach special energy as well with this, which is how we are powering up this Zamazenta. We have Aurora energies in here. So we have a lot of energy in the deck. This can really accelerate energy fast onto your Coalossal VMaxes, Zamazentas, powering up extra things like the Galarian Surfetched, etc. So I really like B as a 3 count in this deck. Now, that might seem very high, and maybe it is. Maybe this is like an early build and it's too high, but I like it. I really did like B, and Oranguru can guarantee you at least 1 attachment off of a B. So it's nice. It's nice. Outside of that, we have a couple Boss's Orders. Kind of standard fare here. We have 1 Mallow and Lana, because yes, this is a beefy Pokemon, the VMAX, but if you can make it withstand even more hits, 1 Mallow and Lana could be very good in this deck. We have 1 Cynthia and Caitlin to get back one of our supporters and to draw us a few cards. So maybe you want to get back a Boss, a Mallow and Lana, a B, whatever that might be. So that is our supporter lineup there. We have all of those supporters. Now, the last card before I get into all the items and energy is the Stadium cards. And we are running 2 of the Martial Arts Dojo. Martial Arts Dojo says that the attacks of non-Ultra Beasts that have basic fighting energy attached to them, both yours and your opponents, do 10 more damage, and if you're behind on prizes, it does 40 more damage. So that damage modification is really nice. Coalossal VMax, like I said, can get up to 170 damage with its first attack for 1 energy, which is amazing. 170 damage for 1 energy is nuts. Otherwise, it does 280 damage, its peak for the second attack. Galarian Sirfetch'd can go up to 240, Zamazenta 220. You know, lots of damage out here with this martial arts dojo. So those are sort of the supporters and stadiums. Now let's get to the items. We got 4 quick balls over there to search for our basics, and 3 Pokemon communications to search for the Coalossal VMaxes, and maybe put something back in if you wanted Dene. And then because Coalossal VMax does have such a high retreat cost, and you need to be able to switch into Galarian Sirfetch'd, we have 4 switch cards here. And then I mentioned this earlier, Coalossal VMax has 4 retreat cost, right? It also has 330 HP. So that 4 retreat cost allows us to use something like buff padding. Buff padding adds 50 HP, so that goes from 330 to 380 HP. This is a gargantuan Pokemon now. So you think 380, that Malamilana feels even better. So we got 2 buff paddings in the deck. Finally, we rounded off with 1 Ordinary Rod and 1 Reset Stamp. These are the 2 that, like, I don't know if you really need these 2. Honestly, you could maybe find ways to make this a more consistent deck. Maybe a 4th Marnie instead of a Stamp. I just put those in there for now because I still like the idea of them in this deck. Ordinary Rod does shuffle a couple of energy back in with B that could be really helpful. Outside of that, though, you might want to shuffle back in an Oranguru that gets knocked out, or if you have to discard a couple of VMAXs, Ordinary Rod could be useful in that respect. Now, we are going to get into the energy counts. For the energy, it is going to be, I think, an aggressively high count, but I really want to be able to use Oranguru and B and all that stuff to get it accelerated. We have 4 stone energies. Now, this is the new energy, and it says as long as this card is attached to a fighting Pokemon, it provides fighting energy regardless. But if it's attached to a fighting Pokemon, the attacks, it takes 20 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon. Now, it doesn't matter with damage counters, but 20 less damage. So if you get a couple of these onto a Coalossal VMax and the buff padding, you are at effectively 420 HP, and you actually negate that amount of damage every turn, just like a Metal Frying Pan. So you're actually, over the course of 2 turns, they might have to hit for more than 420 damage overall because you're reducing it every turn. So we got 4 stone energy in this deck that any of the B and the Coalossal VMax can attach. You got 4 Auroras. Now the Auroras are basically what's going to be used for the Zamazenta. You really need the Auroras to act as 1 lightning and 1 metal if you want to use Zamazenta. Otherwise, they can just be fighting energy, just like all the rest. And then, in terms of fighting energy, we have 8 basic fighting energy. This energy count, like I said before, might be a little bit high. 16 energy for a Coalossal VMax deck probably is a little high, but I found that I never had a problem finding energy for the Oranguru plays, for B, etc. It all worked very smoothly. I even at one point, I think, B'd into like an 8 energy. I don't know. It was nuts. I had 8 energy on a Pokemon or something like that. 7 energy. It was stupid. But that is the deck that I have right now. Again, probably lots of interesting things you could try out. But for now, for like an early build, I kind of really like this. And Coalossal VMax played really well. So let me know what you think about this build. If you like it, if this is a deck that you are excited about playing, I'm excited about playing it. And any cards you might throw in there that I forgot. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in a future video. Carpe awesome.